Okay, this is price income and cross elasticity of demand. Talk about the law of diminishing utility, rational economic man, and then this gives the demand curve. Right, causes of shifts in demand, changes in fashion, changes in real income, an increase in the price of lamb will increase the demand for beef. That's called the cross elasticity of demand. The cross elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness between two goods. So the percentage change the price of one good, the price of beef goes up, then the demand for lamb will also go up. Those are substitute products, so therefore they have a positive cross elasticity of demand. If the cross elasticity of demand is zero, there's absolutely no relationship between the two goods at all. And derived demand for a product. Okay, if we demand more labour, if there's more demand for, say, coffee, then there's going to be more coffee shops. There's going to be a greater demand for baristas. Okay, so we have the price elasticity of demand. I call this section 2. A totally inelastic demand, or a totally elastic demand, or a relatively inelastic demand, or a more elastic demand. So you need to know what the price elasticity demand is. That's the equation. Percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. E.g., if there's a 10% change in price and a 30% change in demand, this is -3 relationship. The number is greater than 1. Then we say you've got an elastic demand curve. That means in an elastic demand curve, if you decrease the price, you will increase your total revenue. In the elastic demand curve, this means that percentage change in demand will cause a smaller... This means the percentage change in price will cause a smaller change in demand. So that should say price and not demand. Elastic, this means the percentage change in price will lead to a larger change in demand. I got that one correct. Typo. Number 2. And then we've got, number 1, we've got income elasticity of demand. Okay, percentage change in quantity demand of a good divided by percentage change in income. If it's more than 1, it's a luxury good. If it's less than 1, it's a normal good. If it's a -1, so as your income goes up, you demand less of that good, it's a negative relationship. So significance, if China's got economic growth of 4% and you have an income elasticity demand for Teslas of +4, that means maybe a 10% rise in incomes, and that will create a 40% change in demand for Teslas. A positive relationship. So that's why the income elasticity of demand is important. If you draw this graph on here, if it's like that, it's income elastic. So as your income goes up, you demand many, many more goods. Inferior goods, as income rise, we demand less of that good. And a normal good is where as incomes go up, we demand a smaller percentage change in demand, which should be smaller than percentage change in income. Okay, I'm sure you know all that. Luxury goods, normal goods, and inferior goods. Okay, so a price elasticity demand of -0.3 is inelastic. -1, it is unitary elastic. -0.8, which is less than 1, is inelastic. 1.1 is elastic, and +3 or -3 is very elastic. The income elasticity of demand, we say that's an elastic income elasticity demand, that's an inelastic income elasticity of demand, and that's an inferior good. So it's a negative income elasticity of demand. Cross elastic demand, if it's positive, there's substitutes. Remember we just done, the price of beef goes up, the demand for lamb could go up. And it's negative if it's a complement. A gin and tonic, and the price of gin goes up, we demand less tonic. Okay, those are the 3 equations. I'm sure you all know them. Percentage change in quantity demanded, percentage change in price, percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in income, percentage change in quantity demanded of good A divided by percentage change in price of good B. Okay, to show how there's another question. Show how the cross elasticity demand shows the relationship between goods. So what we'll do on that question would show the cross elasticity demand. If it's 0, there is no relationship at all. If it's a substitute, there's going to be a positive relationship. Price of beef goes up, then the demand for lamb will go up. If it's negative, it's a complementary relationship. The price of gin goes up, the demand for tonic goes down. Then negative, the goods will be complements. If it's a very powerful relationship, say like +5, so like a 10% rise in the price of beef, that will have a 50% rise in the quantity demanded of lamb. So that will be a very strong relationship, because it would be 5. Okay, so you've got to differentiate between income, cross, and price elasticity demand. So you need to have a good knowledge of these elasticities on there. The income elasticity demand can also be used for sales forecasting. This came up on last year's paper 3. So why is it useful for sales forecasting? it's useful in terms of the income elasticity of demand. A firm may supply different products during a boom. So if they've got a high income elastic demand, then you may have more luxury products, but in a recession, you have a lower products with a low income elasticity of demand. Cross-elastic demand is important for a business because if a substitute goes up, that will affect the demand for another good. Remember, total revenue, if you draw an ordinary demand curve here, I'm sure you've done this in multiple choice questions. Halfway down, the price elastic demand equal to 1. Before that, here would be elastic and there would be inelastic. If you do the mathematics of it, you can work it all out. Okay. Finally, factors that influence the price elastic demand: number of substitutes, loads of substitutes, high price elastic demand, types of goods. If they are essential goods, they have an inelastic demand. Percentage of income spent on the good. If you spend lots of money on a good, it's more likely to be elastic. And over time, people will have time to change their buying habits. Inelastic, elastic. Think of those diagrams on there. Right.